The first rain. The first family gathering was a boisterous affair. My father, drunk and full of bluster, bragged about our new fish pond, promising it would make us 300,000 yuan. He didn't know he was inviting disaster. The next morning, half the fish were dead, poisoned. My mother wept, scolding him for his thoughtless words that had invited the envy of our relatives. I stepped forward, my voice steady. "Don't cry," I said. "I put the poison in." My mother's tears stopped. My father, who had been angrily kicking the mud, froze. "What are you talking about?" he demanded. I turned to him, my gaze hard. "We have 300,000 yuan of debt, Dad. Remember? That new batch of fry. We borrowed money for them. And did you honestly think they wouldn't try something? Look at them," I said, gesturing to the distant houses. "Uncle Lee's family has been on a winning streak. His daughter just got into grad school. His son aced his college entrance exams. Does anyone really believe all that good fortune came from hard work alone?" My parents stared at me, speechless. I looked out at the dead fish floating in the pond. This was it, the turning point. The event that, in my previous life, had led to our family's ruin. The beginning of the end. In my past life, the poisoned fish was the start of our downfall. The relatives, who had been gloating from afar, descended upon our small home, pretending to offer comfort while secretly relishing our misfortune. They mocked us, offering cruel advice while we scooped the dead fish from the water. "How much will a kilo of dead fish go for?" my aunt sneered, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "You can take them for free if you want," my father snapped. "And pay to dispose of them." "No thanks. They're not even fit for pig slop," Aunt B retorted. "And you have to pay back all that debt. I bet you'll be wearing rags by the end of it." My brother Lee and I was furious, but I held him back. I had a different purpose. As I worked, I was meticulously sorting the dead fish. 172 with red eyes. 328 with 3 fins. 106 with shark-like teeth. The mutation was far more advanced than I had ever imagined. I threw a handful of fish to the ground, my voice rising above the chatter. "Everyone listen. This isn't poison. This is a mutation. Look at their gills, their scales. They're changing." My relatives just laughed. "Lee and I, go inside and lock the doors and windows," I instructed, ignoring their taunts. I turned to my parents. "Mom, Dad, listen to me. This wasn't a malicious act. These fish weren't poisoned. They were a test. In my previous life, I hadn't realized the truth until it was too late. 2 months after the incident, babies with grotesque deformities were born in the local hospital. A new lethal virus followed, spreading like wildfire. My parents, my brother, they all died. When I was reborn, I knew I had to act. The day of the poisoning was also the first big rain of the summer. I had biked to a well near the coast, filling a small bucket of water. I'd added that water to our pond, a controlled experiment to see how severe the nuclear runoff was. Now I had my answer. The contamination was already in the groundwater. Preparations. "How much money do we have, Mom? Dad? What can we borrow? What can we sell?" I asked, tearing 2 pages from my notebook. "We have 3 days. This is what we need to buy." My list was extensive. Survival supplies, building materials, a generator. My parents, though uneducated, had a great deal of trust in me. "But Mulan," my father said, using my new name, "if this is true, shouldn't we warn the villagers? They're our neighbors." Beside, "Dad, remember what they said today? They laughed at our misfortune. Did they offer us a single word of kindness, a single hand to help? This isn't a small disaster. It's nuclear contamination. It's in the water, the soil, the air. We can only save who we can save. And besides, do you think they'd believe us?" I didn't believe it myself until I saw it firsthand. I saw the change in my father's eyes, the moment he accepted the reality. He nodded slowly. "You're right." Just then we heard a knock at the door. I opened it to find a delivery man with a tractor trailer full of bottled water. "Your water delivery is here, Lee and I," he said. I had spent all my savings, a total of 6,000 yuan, on this water, 300 cases, delivered directly from the factory. I knew it was barely enough to survive, but it was a start. It was proof to my parents that I wasn't just spouting nonsense. As the delivery man helped us unload, I noticed his truck. "That's a nice tractor, sir. How much was it?" "Yes. 20,000, just paid it off," he said proudly. I looked at my dad's new 7-seat van. It was worth 40,000. "My father's van for your tractor," I said simply. "Trade." My parents were dumbfounded. The delivery man was hesitant. "Young lady, are you sure? That's a huge loss. We're going to need a vehicle that can handle rough mountain roads. A van won't survive." "This will," I said, looking my father directly in the eye. "Trust me." He handed me the keys. The last act of kindness. After the delivery man left, we went inside. My parents pulled out their savings, 30,000 yuan. It wasn't enough. Not even close. "Take out your phones," I said. "Borrow as much as you can. Today." My mother looked horrified. "Mulan, we have to pay that back. The interest is so high." "Pay it back to who, Mom?" I said, my voice hardening. "The system is about to collapse. When the world is ending, the first people to die are the ones who worry about morality. The companies that polluted the ocean didn't care about our lives. In an apocalypse, there is no civilization, no order. There is only survival. Don't you think they'll be a little busy to come collect their debts?" We split up, each with a task. Li and I was in charge of buying non-perishable food. My father went for seeds, tools, and livestock. My mother bought medicine and other essentials. I focused on the construction supplies. Before the sun set, we had cleared out every hardware store and pharmacy in town. Now it was time for the next step. We needed a place to hide. A place with clean water and air. A place we could grow our own food. I had found a cave in the mountains behind our village with a small waterfall in front and a half-acre of open land in the back. It was perfect. As the day came to a close, I went to our relatives' houses, not to warn them, but to gather what we needed. I asked my relatives for old bricks, wood, and waterproof tarps. Every single one of them, Aunt B, Uncle Lee, my cousin's wife, all of them, laughed in my face. They charged me exorbitant prices for scrap materials, mocking my father and our misfortune. I paid every last cent without a single word of complaint, a cold rage building inside me. As I was leaving Aunt Ba's, a young woman was standing in our yard. It was Lin Lan, my cousin's wife, pregnant with her third child. Her face was pale, her eyes filled with fear. Lin Lan was meek and quiet, but as she spoke, her voice trembled. "Mulan. Hey, I heard about your fish. I'm so sorry." She opened her purse, pulling out a small, tattered envelope. Inside were 700 yuan. "My husband's parents don't know about this," she said. "Take it, please. You need it more than I do." My mother tried to refuse, but Lin Lan pressed the money into her hands. "Don't worry," she said, her eyes welling up with tears. "You'll be okay. Don't worry." I looked at the woman who had laughed at us and the other who had given us all she had. A storm was coming, but I knew in that moment that we would survive. Desperate plea. My father's words were a double-edged sword. "Look at Mulan. It's because of her education she's so clever and far-sighted." She knew disaster was coming. Lin Lan's eyes widened. "What disaster?" I gritted my teeth. "Now or never. Sister-in-law, do you truly want to save your baby? To give her a good life, a chance at an education?" She nodded frantically. "Of course. It's my greatest hope. But my family? We can't even afford to raise the 2 daughters we have. How can we raise another?" I noticed the bruises on her arms and legs, a testament to my cousin's cruelty. My mother whispered to me, "Mulan, Lin Lan is a good woman. She's already suffered so much. We have to help her." I had already decided. My father had let the cat out of the bag. We couldn't leave her behind. "Sister-in-law, if you truly want what's best for your baby, then listen to me. Don't go home tonight. Just then, my brother Lee and I returned, not only with all the supplies we needed, but with 2 refurbished generators and a small water purification system. I bought them from a teacher at school, he explained. They were replacing old equipment. They sold them cheap. I was overjoyed. My brother, the top student, had his own kind of genius. I pulled him aside and explained the situation. She's a good person, Lee and I. Our family's secret is out. We have to bring her in. It's the right thing to do. My brother agreed, but with a warning. She said her husband's family doesn't know she gave us money. But I just saw my cousin driving her back on his motorcycle a few minutes ago. My blood ran cold. That night, my family and I began the long process of moving our supplies to the mountain cave. I stayed behind with Lin Lan. "Where are Uncle and Auntie going?" she asked, her gaze curious. "Let me help." I looked at her 6-month pregnant belly. "No heavy lifting for you, sister-in-law. If you want to help, you can sew these waterproof tarps together. We'll need a lot of them." As she sewed, she confessed, "Mulan, I'm so jealous of you. You're so smart and beautiful. You'll marry a good man." "Being smart isn't for finding a good husband," I replied. "It's for living a meaningful life." The betrayal. After a long day, I lay down to rest, pretending to sleep. But in the hazy moments between wakefulness and slumber, I felt a hand fumbling under my pillow. It was Lin Lan, and she was stealing my notebook. She tiptoed out of the house and crouched behind the outhouse, whispering into her phone. "Hello, brother. I'm at their place. Mom was right, they are preparing to run. Mulan said something about nuclear contamination and people getting sick. They're going to hide in the mountains." My cousin's voice on the other end was a low growl. "You fool. Let them build it first. Just follow them. When it's finished, we'll take it." "But what if they don't agree?" she asked. "Whoever is stronger wins," my cousin replied. "If they don't agree, we'll kill them all. Steal Mulan's notebook. Has a map of the cave. We can follow it and get in." Lin Lan giggled. "You're so clever, brother." I quietly went back to my bed, feigning sleep. They say you should respect people's choices about their own destiny. The next day, with the help of a small crew of workers, we began building our refuge. We waterproofed the walls, dug a massive water reservoir, and installed a greenhouse with reinforced glass. We planted potatoes and tomatoes. My brother, with his engineering genius, installed the generators and stockpiled candles. Our refuge was coming together. That evening, my brother lay down on a makeshift bed, exhausted. "How long do you think we'll have to stay here?" "I don't know," I said honestly. "Maybe months, maybe years, maybe forever. If we can never go out, then let's engrave the story of humanity on this wall, so that one day, another species can find it." I looked at Lin Lan, who was watching our every move. "Sister-in-law," I said, "do you ever think your life would have been better if you hadn't listened to your family?" She didn't answer, and I knew she was still wavering. The apocalypse kills the kind-hearted first, but it also kills the stupid. Late that night, I watched her through a hidden camera as she sent a text message to my cousin. "The construction is finished tomorrow. The 2 doors on the map can only be opened from the inside. I will put sleeping pills in their dinner. Come in the evening. Bring shovels to bury them. Mulan says the food will last for 2 years. You're wrong, I thought. The food will last us 4. And the first thing your family will do when they get here is kill you and your baby." The last laugh. The next afternoon, the refuge was complete. After paying the workers, we sealed ourselves off from the outside world. I brought my cat, Lee, and I brought his dog. My mother made a celebratory hot pot. "This is a new beginning," she said. My father even had a little bit of liquor. After the meal, we all collapsed, feigning drunkenness. Only Lin Lan stood. Her family had been waiting impatiently. From the outside, our refuge looked like nothing more than a normal pile of rocks. Lin Lan anxiously opened the secret door. A loud thud echoed through the chamber as my cousin's family fell into the trap we had just finished building. The first rule of survival is to have your own defense system. because compared to zombies, demons, viruses, or aliens, the most terrifying thing is always other people. As we stood at the edge of the pit, we watched as my uncle's family thrashed desperately in a waist-deep layer of mud. Water hoses, still running, sprayed them down. "Help us," they screamed. "We're family. How can you be so cruel?" I squatted down, my voice cold. "How can we be so cruel? You were going to kill us." That liquor was untouched. We knew everything. My uncle's family panicked. "Mulan, we're sorry. We didn't mean to kill you. We'll do whatever you say." I pressed a button and the trapdoor slammed shut. Goodbye. The relentless rain that followed blanketed the village in a thick gray fog. The true apocalypse had begun. Animals turned feral. People suffered from a high fever and rashes that caused their skin to peel. Miscarriage rates skyrocketed. All the water sources were poisoned. Inside our refuge we were safe. Lee and I had installed a satellite antenna, and we watched the news, horrified. The price of a single bottle of mineral water had soared. People were abandoning their homes and fleeing to the mountains. Our haven was eventually discovered. The surveillance system showed a mob of villagers outside the entrance. "Let us in. We're all from the same village. Just give us some water," they screamed, their pleas turning to threats. "You bastards! If you don't help us, we'll burn you out." Smoke began to seep into the refuge. My mother begged me to let them in. "Mulan, we can't let them die. We'll suffocate." I handed them the gas masks we had prepared. "Don't panic. Wait here." I went outside and opened the lid to our water reservoir, a huge man-made pool of clean water. "Here is your water," shouted. "Don't bother us again." They fell upon the water, pushing and shoving. They had not had clean water in a long time. But then a blood-curdling scream rang out. "There are bones. A skull. Something bit me." A fish, at least 70 pounds, lunged from the water and clamped its jaws on a man's leg. Screams echoed as the water turned red. Those were the surviving fish from our pond, now grown into monsters, thanks to a diet of my uncle's family. "They want water. They'll get it," I said to my family. "They want meat. We'll see who eats who." A new era. Months later, our satellite antenna was struck by lightning, and we lost all contact with the outside world. The vegetables and livestock we had brought were thriving. We lived in our secluded world for an unknown length of time until one day, my long silent phone buzzed with a message. It was from my older brother, my mentor from my previous life, a fellow scientist. He asked how I was, if my family was safe. When I was first reborn, I had told him everything and he had believed me. He had gone back to save his own family. I was so relieved to hear from him. He wrote that the situation was finally turning around. The corporation responsible for the nuclear runoff had been condemned by the world and forced to fund the cleanup. But the most urgent problem was finding a cure for the virus and the mutations. They needed to find a genetic sequence from the earliest infected individuals. Smiled. I had just the thing. In our reservoir, a few of the original fish from our pond had not mutated. They had not only survived but had thrived, completely immune to the contamination. As a proper scientist, I knew exactly what to do. I had to offer them to humanity. Years later, our world was rebuilt. The oceans were clean once more. But the memories of the past would always remain. As for my uncle's family, I think it's safe to say they would never eat fish again in their next life.